Hello, welcome to Escaping the Echo Chamber. I'm going to be brief tonight. So now, tomorrow, early tomorrow, um, I will be doing a live. I will be going live. I'll announce the specific time um, in advance, just so that because I actually I want to give people the opportunity to, hey, if you have critiques, comments, stuff you want to say to me, boom. Yeah, I mean that's the purpose of life. Of course, if anybody's on now, they want to do so, feel free. But yeah, tomorrow morning, because I know it's late, so tomorrow morning, uh, I'm thinking about 10, but I'll put that promote that beforehand, so that anybody who has issues or critiques or whatever they want to address towards me, they can. Because in fact, I do have to respond to in relation to the video, Plano, Texas, where the protest happened. And, I'm like, okay, I did my entire video. I'm not sure if people who comment watch the entire video or if they just see a portion and then have a critique. And I encourage you, if you're watch the entire video, because the way I start isn't necessarily the way I finish. Like, I can start by showing a perspective or by examining a perspective that's not my ultimate conclusion, but I like to do that because that's the point of the channel, escaping the echo chamber, not just looking at things one dimensionally from one perspective and then just running with it, being able to look at things from 360 degrees, and then coming to reasonable, logical uh, conclusion based on the information you have available. And people were mad about the protesters, and people like, oh well, it's against the law. And I'm going to provide some specific information, because that we didn't just say it was against the law. The commenter says it's a crime, that blocking traffic is a crime. I had already mentioned funerals, parades, construction, all of these things block traffic. So clearly, blocking traffic in and of itself is not a crime. Um, Also, in New York State, where I am, blocking traffic, or it might just be the city. Yeah, I think it's the city. Blocking traffic is an infraction, which is separate and distinct from a crime. So it's not something that can actually result in jail time, could result in fines and tickets. But then in Texas, which is where that took place, I want to have the specific information. Is it a crime? Is it an infraction? And under what circumstances is blocking traffic a crime or an infraction? And under what circumstances is it allowed? Because if you have a permit, then clearly it would not be a crime because you are permitted to do so. So I want to have this specific information so I can address that. Of course, if you have specific information that it is a crime, feel free to cite the statute. If you can include a link, so that way we can save time. I can look directly to your source material and know that you're not just spouting what your feelings are, what you feel it should be. Or I feel it should be a crime, and I don't like that they were blocking traffic, and so I want to justify it without acknowledging the fact that this guy damaged somebody's property, um, and that you have a conclusion, and now you're going to look for evidence to support that conclusion. That it seems that's the perspective and where a lot of people are coming at it from now. But yeah, I want to talk about Dr. Umar and Kevin Samuels, because I've been seeing a lot of chatter like there's this beef coming, and that's why it's so important to do your research. Because I was like, okay, they're beefing. I saw Umar make some statements, but he didn't actually mention his name. So tonight he's on BNC, the Black News Channel, with Mark Lamont Hill, and Mark Lamont Hill specifically asked him, "Are you shooting at Kevin Samuels?" And he says, "Well, Kevin Samuels had made some comments about him a few weeks ago, and he didn't respond. And then when he made the statements, he was talking generally about a certain trend he's noticed, but he was not specifically. I'm gonna have to learn specifically talking about Kevin Samuels, and and this is the point where he takes a shot, where he says, "I was not specifically talking to Kevin Samuels because I do not engage. I do not make it a habit of engaging with people who are not on my intellectual level, or something of that effect." So yeah, he in not taking in saying that he's not shooting at Kevin Samuels, he started shooting at Kevin Samuels. But he did address the comment that he made and the video, and because he said, "I'm seeing a trend, and this blame black woman." So there's a bunch of like this it's becoming more popular of these groups of males that are blaming black women for you know problems, you know difficulties in the relationships, and as opposed to, in fact, what he says is, he says they're blaming black women for problems that white supremacy has created. And I'm like, okay, I definitely see a trend that it's like, okay, let's beat up on women, let's shift all of the blame on them. And it's and so here's the thing. If you're and this is the nature of the social media, if you're trying to sell a product, like, you have to hype up that product to the person you're trying to sell it to, or the group you're trying to sell it to. So if you're trying to sell a product to men, if that's your target audience, then you're going to tickle their ears and say, "Hey, yeah, you're not the problem. The reason why you can't find a woman is because these women got it twisted." And then you can just start, talking all bad about black women, especially if your target group is black men, and it will resonate, because they're like, yeah, I'm not the problem. Yeah, it's these females. They're the ones that is messing up. Like, yeah, like they got to get their act together. And I say, when it comes to relationships, it's often it's a two-way street. But don't even focus on what's coming down the other side of the street. What you need to do is make sure you know how to drive. That's what, like, all the foundation, and this is what I think is missing from a lot of these gurus. A lot of the information, the first and foremost, anything you should be doing to, if you're looking for more meaningful, more relationships, better relationships, happy relationships, the first thing you have to do is you. Work on you. Get yourself together. Make sure. So you may have a list of qualities you're looking for in a partner. Do you have a list of qualities you're looking for in yourself? Because if you don't have that list, then you need to then you need to take the list that you have about your partner, put it to the side, and get to working on a list of qualities you need to see in yourself. And then you need to get to work on actually making those qualities a reality. And if your favorite guru isn't telling you this, they're lying to you. Uh, so I've seen clips of Kevin Samuels actually schooling people and telling them, "Hey, you got to get yourself." And I'm trying to remember. I've seen several different ones, but there was one where he was on the Joe Budden show. Sonny Johnson had posted that one, and that was a really good post. I don't remember it offhand, but it was some constructive criticism. You have to fix you. And yeah, and I had touched on some of this stuff in an earlier video about what's a dusty. I was responding to Chris Logic. She's a fellow YouTuber, and she does a lot of relationship type videos. And I saw this, and I had to speak on it because the while I say you have to fix you, at the same time that's a message directed at brothers. It's also directed at sisters. If you're looking for the perfect male, okay, you're looking for the perfect man. You're looking for Mr. Right. Make sure you're Miss Right. Like you have to fix yourself too. So everybody, we all have to fix ourselves before we try to go and find that right person to make us happy. Because if we can't make ourselves happy, if we're not happy in and of and with ourselves, then like a relationship is not going to fix that. We need to fix us so that we can have a better, more meaningful, more honest, uh, more happy relationship with not just romantic relationships, anybody. Like if you want to have good relationships, good friendships, good working relationships, you need to fix you. And and a lot of people, well, I don't need to be fixed. Well, okay. If you don't think you need to be fixed, chances are you got a lot of work to do. Because it's I remember seeing a video, somebody talking about self-awareness. Yeah, because if you lack self-awareness, you're not aware that you lack self-awareness. And it's essential that you be able to identify, you know what, I got some faults I need to work on. And even if you haven't fixed them, if you're aware of them and you're making progress on them and making steps to fix them, you can you can be aware and see your limitations, and you can see where you've messed up. Or like, oh man, yeah, I jumped to conclusions a lot. You know what? Um, your partner said something and you took it a certain way. But because you're self-aware, because you're aware of where your weaknesses are, some of your flaws, and your ability and your quickness to jump to a conclusion, you're like, okay, let me go, because I started to get mad. Now let me reel it back and let me realize that what am I actually basing this on? That oh, my partner is that meant something a certain way, or did I just jump to a conclusion and I'm about to go off and get mad for nothing when they said something that I'm potentially misinterpreting. And so yeah, I mean I'm glad that. Well, so it does look like it's probably going to be a beef because if one person is shooting and the other person isn't shooting, but then really takes a shot, then it's going to be some. And so maybe it's just for entertainment factor. They're both very popular right now. Further, beef sells. But like for the community, like we need to be focused on getting ourselves together. And I am not a fan of seeing the of getting too caught up in ego. It's not just I'm not just not only am I not a fan, I realize that ego is the enemy, ego is the problem, ego will destroy a movement. During various Black History Months, I've talked about this topic. Um, in particular, let's just take a look at the NOI, Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. Ego did so much damage there. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, was so worried about Malcolm growing in stature that became an issue. And I have a problem if any person tries to make themselves bigger than the movement, that's a problem for me. Because you see, if everything was centering around him, despite the fact that he was doing stuff that his followers were told not to do, so he was getting young women pregnant outside of wedlock, and Malcolm had excommunicated his own brother. Malcolm had excommunicated his own brother because his brother and a Muslim sister who weren't married had started messing around. And so they were excommunicated from the NOI. Like, if he had to turn his back on his own brother, yes, he's going to feel some type of way if he finds out that the man that he's held up, almost deified, is doing the same thing. That's the problem. So in any movement, and in position of leadership, the movement is bigger than any person. Never, and anybody who wants to be bigger than the movement, that's a person that is a danger, because that person is operating um, off of ego and for their own benefit, for their own, promotion, self promotion, and that so easily can and will be used against the movement by the enemies, because they 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 infiltrate, they destroy. So if a movement is going to be successful, if we're actually going to succeed in changing the state and the improving the state of the Black community, it's going to take a movement, and it's going to take a movement that is bigger than any one of us. Any one of us. None of us is more important than the movement. The movement is what's paramount. But if somebody is trying to pretend that they are more important, they are bigger than the movement, that person, in my opinion, that's who you watch out for. And that's actually a person I'm going to shy away from, because that person is not in it for the movement. They're in it for themselves. And so I hope that Dr. Umar and Kevin Samuels stop. Like Kevin Samuels, he's doing his thing. I hope he keeps giving like constructive advice to individuals. Improve yourself, and not just telling women, because he's counseling women. Excuse me. So he's counseling women from a male perspective, in terms of its benefit. It'll be a benefit to do so. It's almost as if you go to your boy as a marriage counselor, and you're like, okay, tell her she has to do this, so that I get to win all the arguments. So it's kind of like he's giving advice on like a home court advantage thing, and the home court being to men. As far as Dr. Umar, you don't really have time for Kevin Samuels. You have a school to get up and running, and like that really should be that should be everything right now. Get that school up and running, get the kids inside of it. I'm glad he's doing that. I think it could have been done differently and better. And here's why I say that. Two words for you: King Randall. Like King Randall did he just, okay, these kids need to be educated. I'm bringing them to my house. Boom. And I'm going to start, teaching them what I need to teach them. And then I'm working on getting an actual physical facility. But we have to realize that right now there's so much work that needs to be done. If you're trying to just do it to traditional route, it's going to take so much money, and resources are limited. So if you're going to be trying to do something to create a movement, to create an impact, we have to be smart. We have to say, how can we get the most accomplished with requiring the least resources, especially if we have to go to the people to get these resources. Like, okay, y'all are trying to build your community. Like, I can't be taking your every spare cent you have and using that to build one building that's going to be able to teach how many students. Like, it's one physical building. You're not going to be able to teach the kids all over the US. So what do you need to do? Take advantage of technology and other things that will increase your impact. So like right now we have these computers, we have the internet, we have streaming, Zoom. Like, we've just seen over the past year the public educational system taking place on the internet. We don't actually building to start teaching. We can start teaching like now, like right now. We can just get out there, put together the curriculum, especially somebody like Dr. Umar, who already has a significant amount of expertise. He can just get on the computer and start teaching. That's it. Like that's all he needs to do. Um, I don't know why he doesn't, because that would, like, he could have been teaching kids for years already. Like, how many students would have already benefited from what he's talking about, had he just said, okay, we're doing this online. We've got the technology, just boom. And it's for a fraction of the cost. And now you can have kids all over the United States getting educated by Dr. Umar. Like, that would have been, and he still can do it. I don't know why I mean, maybe he's traditional, maybe he's used to doing it a certain way, but just because we're used to doing a certain way doesn't mean that's the best way, and doesn't mean that's the way we should be doing it. Like, if we can do it better, do it better. If we can do it cheaper, do it cheaper. So I like that King Randall, he just said, hey, I'm bringing kids into the school. I'm bringing kids into my house. I'm teaching them. And then he managed to get more exposure, more donations. Now he was able to buy land. From last I heard, he bought like a 40-acre plot of land. So now he's going to be teaching them survival skills as well. And certain things you have to be in person to teach. Cool. But like, this is what I'm talking about. We have the ability to do so much more. Do it. Like, we don't have to just settle for, oh man, I got to find a building and I got to do this. And because if trying to do it the old fashioned way can actually just eat up time, and that's time that could have such a positive impact on, especially on our young people are suffering. Like, we've seen, like, look, just look at the Micaiah Bryant case. This young sister was having, like, she was going through it. And if we can stop, if we can use the resources we have, technology, networks, knowledge, to create a difference in these young people's lives, we can stop the next Micaiah Bryant from happening. And I'm not even, like, whether she's killed by a cop, or whether she gets arrested, like, we can stop that next situation from happening, where this young woman was stressed, was angry, was fed up, didn't want to be in the foster home she was in, and we can actually intervene and change the trajectory of their lives. Because our young people are feeling it. They are feeling it right now, and we have to step up. We have to do better by them. We have to do right by them. And like, I mean, I hope, because even if Umar decides that's all he's going to do, he's going to do the physical the physical school. There are people out there that have background in teaching, and we have the technology. We have it. Like, you can be putting classes on, and I mean, already you have people putting stuff on YouTube, and it's very useful. But we can do Zoom class. We can actually be running with schools online, and really making an impact on people's lives, especially on our young people's lives, and just changing the game, because we don't have to do things the old way. We don't have to wait for oh, I need $6 million to be able to help the kids, when you can do $600. Get a computer program up and running, and boom. Now you're going directly into kids' homes over the internet, and you're educating them. You can get the Zoom thing set up, and now the question is, like, especially if it's going to be an interactive situation, yeah, you need to make sure all the regulations are followed. And yeah, we especially, yeah, if you're dealing with students, we want to make sure we're dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and ultimately, we need to get rid of a bunch of these regulations that are designed to control how education is occurring, because there's a lot of nonsense in these curriculums that aren't actually benefiting our kids, that aren't actually going to provide them with success going out after school. And it's like the question needs to be asked, why do they need this course? I mean, like just line by line, just look what they're taking this class. What is this going? How's this going to benefit their life? Like, why are we not teaching them finance? Why are we not teaching them economics, business management, entrepreneurship? You know why they're not being taught that? Because the public educational system doesn't want our kids to be bosses. They want our kids to be employees, low wage workers. And all these people that keep talking about raise the minimum wage, what they're not talking about is the fact that the schools have failed our youth, our young people, our adults, which is why so many people are stuck at just these low wage jobs and unable to provide for themselves and their families. But I'm looking forward to seeing. I mean, if Dr. Umar decides that he's just going to stick with the physical school, I'm looking forward to seeing him put it up. I'm looking forward to seeing how he's able to benefit the lives of whoever the kids are that are able to go to the school. But we need more. We need to be reaching, like we've got a 50 states, at least 50 states of Black kids that need help, that need some direction, that need something more than what this public educational system is providing. And so we need to get to work. And I say we, I'm talking about me, and I'm getting to work. I'm putting stuff together because I'm like, okay, what can I do? King Randall inspired me. Like and how can he not? How can King Randall not inspire you? This is a 21-year-old young man that just did it. He stopped. No excuses. No, oh, I need this. I need this. No, just come on. I got a house. I see the kids. Come on. I'll get on YouTube. Make sure I know the stuff, and then I'll start teaching it to them. Boom, just like that. That's a beautiful thing. And like I said, it's an inspiration. He really inspired me, and I know he inspired many more people, which is good. Because now we gotta save these young people. We really do. And so, as always, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe to this if you're interested in talking about solutions and actually improving the lives of the Black community, Black youth, improving ourselves as Black men and women. Yes, subscribe to the channel if you're interested in that. You like the message. And like I said, tomorrow I will be going live. I will be addressing any critiques. I'll be addressing critiques that have already been offered, on previous videos. But if anybody wants to come on live and critique, boom, like I said, I'm with it. Bring the smoke. I'm not above criticism, and sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'll be wrong. The one thing I will not do is stay wrong. Thank you for checking out Escaping from the Echo Chamber. I'll see you next time.